Today we are very fortunate to have with us Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Bhagavat Maharaj, very, very senior devotee. I did not know much about him until maybe a few days back. I had seen him many times on Zoom here and there, and I've heard some Harikatha from him. But I had often seen him coming to Gurudev, and Gurudev would very respectfully ask him to sit down. He will give him a special chair. Yeah, only that much I knew about him. But yesterday I read his biography on our website, and it was so much that I was astonished that Maharaj has so much experience and he has done so many things. So he joined ISKCON, and he became disciple of Pujapad Nityalila Pravisht Om Vishnupada Stota Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj in 1970. That is 51 years from now. It's been 51 years. So you can imagine how senior he is. And in ISKCON, he was a very prominent leader there. He was responsible for, he held various responsibilities. He managed temples in Mumbai, Kolkata, Vrindavan, Bhubaneswar, Nairobi, London, Long Island, and New York. So many temples he has managed in ISKCON. And also he was mainly responsible for coordinating meetings with very high political dignitaries and entertainment industry leaders to establish educational programs of ISKCON. So big responsibility there also. And then he came to Gurudev, and he took sannyas from Gurudev. And he holds various degrees also, like from Florida Vedic College, he holds a Bhakti Yoga degree. He holds a degree in Ayurveda, that is Vedic naturopathic healing, and also Jyotish Shastra, astrology. So 3 degrees he has, and he is well versed and lectured around the world on teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and other sacred texts. And he was initiated into sannyas order in 2008 by our own beloved Gurudev, Nityalila Pravisht Om Vishnupada Stota Srimad Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayana Gosvami Maharaj. And thereafter, he's been with Maharaj, and he's involved in various preaching activities. He's traveling around the world to give the message of Guru Vargas. And he's been teaching practically and giving the theory also. And yes, and I've heard so many his Zoom meetings, so beautiful they were. He talked so beautifully about Prabhupada and about our Gurudev. So today we are very fortunate to hear all those things about our Srila Prabhupada also, and about our Gurudev, and whole journey about Maharaj. Maharaj, today you have free time. There's no much limitation of time like on other Zoom programs, 45 minutes or 1 hour. You can speak for like open 2 hours.
2 hours.
You can speak your heart out. We all very eager to hear you.
Become bored?
No, Maharaj, no, we love it. we want to hear everything, how you came to Swami Prabhupada ji, how your journey started, and how you came to Gurudev, and to various acharyas, what kind of services you did, and what all you observed and you realized. So we'll be very happy. It will be very inspiring for all of us, Maharaj. Thank you so much for coming here. Yes, Maharaj, you can start.
All right. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksuran Militan Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stabitan Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Karamaya Didanti Swapadantikam. So first of all, I offer my humble obeisances onto the lotus feet of my Diksha and Shiksha Guru, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Asatala Satasi Simad, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And then I offer my humble obeisances onto the lotus feet of my Shiksha and Sannyas Guru, Nitya Lila Prabhishta Om Vishnupad Asatara Satasi Simad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosvami Maharaj, Srila Gurudev. I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet. My disciple is having trouble connecting. Hold on one second. She's asking me. I apologize. She's confused.
You just send her the link, Maharaj, then she can come.
I just sent her the link just now. That's what I did. I went to the message you sent me,
Okay.
and I sent it to her. So now she has the link.
Okay. She should be able to join soon.
Okay. So I continue to offer my obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Shiksha Gurus. Yes, she's connected now. There she is.
Nice.
I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Shiksha Gurus, Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj. I offer my humble obeisances unto the Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, and I offer my obeisances to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are present here today. My Dandavat pranams to one and all. So, Srila Gurudev had a very special relationship with Srila Prabhupada. I have done a lot of research on the relationship that they had previously. I remember one time we were in the car, Loka Guru was driving Srila Gurudev to the event where he was going to speak from the house that he was staying at. And I was sitting in the back of the car, and Loka Guru had a cassette playing with Srila Prabhupada singing. And when Srila Gurudev came in the car, he said, "Oh, Swami Maharaj is singing." He said, "I always want to hear Swami Maharaj sing." He said, when he was living in Radha Damodar, I would go and make chapati with him. And we would have lunch together. And then after having lunch, we would do kirtan. He said, and while we were doing kirtan, he would play mridanga and I would play kartals. He said, but I always used to have to sing because Swami Maharaj was weeping in ecstasy, always weeping and weeping and weeping. And he could not sing. So I had to do the singing. He said, but now I want to hear him sing. So you always play Swami Maharaj's bhajans when I come in the car. I want to hear him sing always. So he gave us some insight into the intimacy of their relationship and how much Srila Gurudev loved his company. Srila Gurudev, one of my godbrothers, he used to be the pujari in Krishna Balaram Mandir. And my other godbrother used to be at Krishna Balaram Mandir, and he was the driver who used to drive. Prabhupada had one vehicle always at his disposal. So the driver told me that Prabhupada would tell him many times when he was staying in Krishna Balaram Mandir. You go now to Mathura and you get my friend Narayana Maharaj and you bring him here. So he would go and get Srila Narayana Maharaj and he would bring him there. And my other godbrother who was the Pujari said that at 4 o'clock there was an offering to Krishna and Balaram, fruits and juices and so many things. And after the offering, the Mahaprasad was brought to Prabhupada's room. He would always, because he would take a nap sometimes in the afternoon or whatever, and then he would need a little pick-me-up before the night lecture. Because he would give a lecture every night when he was at the temple. So before the evening lecture, he would take this fruits and juice. He said, and when he would come and deliver the fruits and juice to the room, Srila Narayana Maharaj was very often in the room with Srila Prabhupada, and they would share the prasadam together and eat together. So like this, we get some intimate views about how they had a constant friendship even after Prabhupada was world acharya of so many disciples. I arrived in Vrindavan on October 8th, which was the night that they had that meeting, which was recorded in Bengali. And I was not at the meeting, but I was there when he came into the room. I watched him. And this was the first time that I saw him, that I had a vision of him, a darshan of him. And it was very unusual because everyone, of course, has affection for his guru. Who is his guru? He has affection for him. And he thinks his guru is the greatest guru. And I saw many of Prabhupada's god brothers, and I showed them respect, but I never thought of them on the same platform as Prabhupada. But when I saw Narayana Maharaj, I was affected that he is somebody special. Because when he was walking, he didn't just walk, he appeared to float along the ground, the way I used to see my Prabhupada. And I was thinking, look at him. This is not ordinary, the way he is moving. And he was very well appointed. How he dressed, he was very clean and meticulous, and he looked very, very effulgent. And I thought, he is not ordinary devotee. He is a great devotee. They had the conversation that night, and in that conversation, Srila Prabhupada is talking with Srila Gurudev, and he is telling him that these boys and girls which I have captured in America, they are like monkeys. They are always fighting. And they have no knowledge of their ancestry, their vams. Prabhupada said, Vamshi na. They don't know their vams. In India, every person knows. I come in this vams or that vams, or I have some, what is my lineage, what is my heritage. I am in this Gotra or that Gotra, they know. But we had no knowledge of our ancestry or our heritage and our connection to the Gotra, etc. So Prabhupada said, there's much more work I had to do with them, but now I cannot do it. So I am asking you that you please go. You please go to the West and you help them. You preach to them. And you give them some knowledge so that they can finish their education in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada wanted that. My Guru Maharaj wanted Srila Narayana Maharaj to do that work. And Srila Narayana Maharaj was very humble. He told, if you bless me, then I can do something. And if they are very humble and they will listen, then I could give them some advice. He was very humble. He never thought, no, yes, I will be Acharya, I will be Guru. Not like that. He had no abhiman. No abhiman. He was approaching in a very humble frame of mind, very humble state of mind. So, during that time, a couple of days later, Srila Narayana Maharaj came with some devotees from Mathura. One of those devotees used to do some massage. And they came to do massage for Srila Prabhupada. Also, the devotees came to do kirtan for Srila Prabhupada. Now, at that time, I was one of only 2 or 3 disciples that was following Chaturmas. I was eating only 1 meal a day of khichdi, rice and dal, with no salt even, nothing, just boiled rice and dal. 1 meal a day I was eating. Srila Prabhupada said, if you need to, you can add few vegetables, which I did. I added few vegetables for digestion, but just boiled. So that, and I was chanting extra rounds, and I had one beard like I have now. It was, but my beard was red. In Italian, we say Barbarossa. It was a big red beard. So he came into the room with the disciples. They were going to do some kirtan and some massage for Srila Prabhupada. And he saw me, that all of Swami Maharaj's disciples, they are shaved clean, but this person has a big beard. Who is he and what he is doing? And I was looking at him and I was thinking, I want to meet Narayana Maharaj. I want to meet him. So I came up to him and I said, you are Narayana Maharaj? I spoke in broken Hindi because I knew a little bit of Hindi. So, Aapka Narayan Maharaj, huh? Yes. Aapka naam? He asked me, what is your name? Mara naam Bhagavad Das Brahmachari. Oh. Then Gurudev went like this, Kya? Why I had this beard? I said, Hum Chaturmas Brat, Ek Din Ek Bar Havish. Oh, his eyes got very big. Oh, he's speaking Hindi. He is eating Havish. He's doing the Chaturmas Brat. He was very happy. He was just smiling and shaking his head. Then he took me by my arm like this. Come, come, I'm going to show you something special about your Gurudev, your Guru Maharaj, something special. So he brought me over to the side of the bed next to Srila Prabhupada. Then he said, you see how your Guru Maharaj is lying in the bed, how your Prabhupada is lying here? And the Prabhupada was lying on his side. And above his head, he had his two hands like this, above his head. With this, like this, with the fingers. And Narayana said, see that? See how he has the fingers like this? This is a special mudra. It is called mudra. Then he said, now look at his head. His head was swayed back like that. And you could see his back was arched in that way. And then his 2 feet were like this, on the tiptoes. And he was showing me that. You see the head, you see the back, you see the 2 feet on the tiptoes like this. He said, you see all of this? He said, this is called the dancing pose. Dancing pose. He said, now your Prabhupada is dancing with Radha and Krishna. I couldn't believe him because he was a so powerful moment that I had with him there. Then he began to sing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada so beautifully. Sri Rupa Manjari Pada se mora sampada. So sweetly he sang, so sweetly. All of us were weeping. The young brahmacharis that he brought with him, they had very high tenor voices, and they were responding. He would sing, and they would sing, and they did the Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, and all of us began to weep. We began to weep. Then he left with the devotees, and after he left, about an hour later, Srila Prabhupada came out. He was like sleeping. And he came out from that sleep, and he came to full consciousness. So the devotees asked him, Prabhupada, you need to drink some water. He said, I don't want to drink water. They said, but Prabhupada, you see that we have measured how much urine you passed and how much water you drank, and you are passing more urine than the water that you have drunk. So if you do this, you will dehydrate. Prabhupada said, yes, I know. So then the devotees became nervous. They said, oh, does this mean you are going to leave us now? Is this what you are going to do? So he didn't respond. He said, you tell Tamal Krishna to come in here. I want to speak with him. So Tamal Krishna came in to the room, and he kneeled down next to the bed to talk with the Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada looked at him, And Srila Prabhupada said, I was just talking with Krishna. And I went, oh, Narayana Maharaj told that Prabhupada was dancing with Radha and Krishna. And now Prabhupada has told that he is talking with Krishna. So now I understand Narayana Maharaj is pure devotee. Must be pure devotee. He could understand everything. He could see everything. Then I became very happy. So Srila Narayana Maharaj, he used to come and visit sometimes when Srila Prabhupada was preparing to leave. And Srila Prabhupada specifically asked the devotees, he told them, when the time comes, you call him meaning Narayana Maharaj, because they were just talking, you call him and he will do everything. So this was Srila Prabhupada's desire, that Narayana Maharaj should come and do this ceremony to place the Srila Prabhupada in the Samadhi. That was his desire. Because we didn't know. We did not know all the things that had to be done. We had not been fully trained. We were trained to chant Hare Krishna and to follow the regulative principles of devotional service. And we did as we were told, as we were trained, as best we could. Because we were new and young and uneducated in the process. So, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, he used to keep us chanting, just always chant, 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 and take prasadam. He used to make us eat lots of prasadam because he knew that we were very lusty young boys. So he made us eat lots of prasadam. And he used to have us do kirtans and dance and chant together. So like this, we engaged. And as much as possible, he tried to help us understand the philosophy. But he would speak things very simply. In his books, he gave us everything. All Raganuga Bhakti, Radha Tattva, Krishna Tattva, Shiva Tattva, everything was in his books. But in trying to help us to take to the process, when he would lecture, judging our immaturity in our consciousness, he would speak very simply. I'm just going to tell you one story, because Prabhupada also mentioned to Srila Sridhar Maharaj's disciple, Govinda Maharaj, that you should go to the West and preach. So Govinda Maharaj was preparing to go to the West and give lectures. So he thought, I will read the lectures of Swami Maharaj. I will see how he has lectured in America. Then I will understand how to lecture in America when I go there. So one day, after he had spent many days reading Prabhupada's lectures, one day he called my godbrother. He said, I am reading the lectures of Swami Maharaj, and I'm trying to understand how he lectured in America. And every lecture is the same. Again and again, he keeps saying the same thing. You are not this body, sex life is abominable. You are not this body, sex life is abominable. You are not this body, sex life is... Again and again, he says the same thing. He said, no Gaudiya sannyasi in India preaches like this. Why is he preaching like this? So my godbrother told him, I cannot explain this to you. When you go to America and you see what is America, then you will understand. Because at that time in 1970s, India was very pure. It was very pure. All women were respected properly. Everything was very nice, clean. It was very different, very, very different from what it is like today. Today, you have everywhere internet, and you have the TV, cable television, and you have pornography, and all these dirty things have poisoned the mind of the people in the India. But at that time, it was even in the video, even in the cinema, no man and woman could kiss in the cinema. It was not allowed. It was not permitted. It was so strict. Very, very clean atmosphere. But in America, Prabhupada wrote one time, the boys and girls, they are mixing freely here, freely. Very different. So then, when Govinda Maharaj went to America and he was lecturing, then he saw my godbrother again and he called him over. He said, you're right. Now that I have seen America, now I understand why he was lecturing like this. So Prabhupada was preaching to us very simply, in order to help us to become free from our bodily identification, our bodily disease. And by preaching like this, he inspired us to go out and distribute books and preach and do Sankirtan, etc. Very beautiful how Srila Prabhupada engaged us. So Srila Narayana Maharaj, he also got this order from Srila Prabhupada. And he got the order to arrange for Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi. I remember when I arrived in Vrindavan, I had gone back to Bhubaneswar for a while to be with Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. Then I arrived back in Vrindavan, and as soon as I arrived, they announced that the Ayurvedic doctor has read the pulse of Prabhupada and that he will leave in 5 hours. So immediately they called Srila Narayana Maharaj. They sent the car to go pick him up. I went in the room immediately. I had just been on the train for 2 days, so I was very dusty. But I did not waste any time. I immediately went in the room, and I went there. I was at the head of the bed. I was massaging Srila Prabhupada's head and his shoulder. And while I was doing that, Srila Prabhupada started to exhibit Astasattvic Bhav. Srila Prabhupada was rolling around on the bed from side to side, side to side, side to side, like this. And then he would become stunned and he would tremble. Whole body would become trembling. And then Srila Prabhupada, when he was stunned like this, his hairs, you could see the hairs standing up. Then tears would come from his eyes. Then he would roar Then he would belch. These are all different symptoms of the Astasattvic bhava. So I was watching this, and I had read Nectar of Devotion. Srila Prabhupada described the ecstatic symptoms in Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So I was looking at this, and I was watching Srila Prabhupada, and I was thinking, what is this? This is amazing. Srila Prabhupada is displaying all of the ecstasies that he has described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in the Nectar of Devotion. He is exhibiting those ecstasies now. I'm watching them. The book is coming to life. So it was startling, amazing. And then what happened is that I watched the Srila Narayana Maharaj come in the room. He came in the door, he walked around behind the devotees, he walked behind me, and he came and he kneeled next to the bed, and he saw Srila Prabhupada exhibiting his ecstasies, and he kneeled next to the bed, and he began whispering something in Prabhupada's ear. He moved his head close to Prabhupada's ear, and he whispered some mantra in Prabhupada's ear. So I don't know what Srila Narayana Maharaj said in the ear. But whatever he spoke in Srila Prabhupada's ear, immediately Srila Prabhupada stopped exhibiting his ecstasies. And he became peaceful. And then he lifted his hand like this, all the way up, and he placed it over Narayana Maharaj's head, gave him a blessing. And then that was the last external communication that Srila Prabhupada had with us. So when I saw this, I was looking and I said, this is like Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Sarup Damodar would see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in uncontrollable ecstasy, he would recite mantra in his ear and then Mahaprabhu would relax. So I thought, today I have been blessed. I am seeing Nectar of Devotion and Chaitanya Charitamrita in real time. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it happen with my own eyes. What is in the scripture? It is visibly being displayed before me. So we were very fortunate, very lucky to be present with Srila Narayana Maharaj at that time. Then I had some intimate service with Srila Narayana Maharaj at that time. He went out. He was told by Tamal Krishna that we want to show you the place where we are going to put the samadhi, where we're going to put Srila Prabhupada. So he went to look at the location because he hadn't seen the location yet. So I followed him out there. And there was some brahmacharis standing around this spot, which had been, there was 4 pieces of wood in the ground, small pegs like this, placed in the ground on the 4 corners, and the rope was around the pegs, demarcating where this samadhi was going to be. And they were standing there with the shovels. So Srila Narayana Maharaj looked at everything. Prabhupada had one god brother there named Ananda Brahmachari. He was a cook. He used to cook for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he was there at the place, and he was talking with Srila Narayana Maharaj. Then Srila Narayana Maharaj grabbed me by the arm and pulled me forward. And he pointed to the devotee with the shovel and he said, "Give the shovel to him." He pointed to me. So then he took me and he positioned me in the middle of that place where the samadhi was going to be. And he positioned me to look in the correct direction, which was, I think, north. And he placed his hand on my shoulder and he recited the mantras for the beginning of the digging of the samadhi. And then he told me, "Okay, now you dig." So I began digging. I dug a few shovels, and then I gave the shovel to my god brothers, and I let them continue to dig. So by Srila Narayana Maharaj's mercy, I was blessed to inaugurate the digging of the samadhi of Srila Prabhupada. So I had many great fortunes in the association of Srila Narayana Maharaj. Many, many great good fortunes in his association. When he came to America, he used to come. I went to visit him in 96. I wasn't sure whether he would remember me or not. So I came to visit him in 96 in Mathura. That time, Gaur Govinda Maharaj had passed, and they asked me to manage things in Bhubaneswar, and I was there in Bhubaneswar, and some devotees had been leaving to go to Srila Narayana Maharaj, and I had mixed feelings that how I will manage the temple. Everyone leaves and goes to Narayana Maharaj. At the same time, I knew he was a great devotee. So I wanted to go and talk with him about this situation. So they were worried about me because I'm such a big man. So they thought, why ISKCON has sent this big man to come and see Narayana Maharaj? So there were sitting 3-4 persons in the room with Srila Narayana Maharaj. Then I said to Srila Narayana Maharaj, "Do you remember me when I was a young brahmachari? I had a red beard. I was doing Chaturmas." Then he went, "Oh, yes, I remember." And then he remembered right away who I was. So then everyone relaxed. Now they could relax. They saw that there was a relationship between the two of us. And I talked to him and told him about my difficulty in Bhubaneswar. He told, "I will tell everyone who comes from Bhubaneswar to go back." If they come here from Bhubaneswar, I will tell them, "You go back, stay with Bhagavat." He was very sweet with me, very friendly to me. Just like you saying that he gave me the chair, I used to be embarrassed because he knew that I had trouble to sit on the floor. So what he did was he would always give me a chair to sit on. And one time we were having the meeting before Navadvip to organize the Navadvip. So I was standing on the side. Then he called one brahmachari. He said, "Bring that chair over here next to his Vyasa-san." So they brought the chair and he called me, "You come sit here." I said, "Gurudev, you are sitting on it." "Sit down. Sit here." So then he made me to sit on the chair right next to his Vyasa-san. So he would always do like this with me. And he was very, very kind to me in many instances. We had situation like this. I came to see him every year when he came to America. By that time, I had my family, and I was raising my son, and we had adopted one daughter. Narayana Maharaj was coming to Alachua. That's where I lived, in Alachua, Florida. And I would go and visit him. I would hear him give lectures. And I would see, and it disturbed me a lot because I was still working with ISKCON at the time. But it disturbed me that Narayana Maharaj, he gave one lecture, and he said, he was talking about the relationship between the Guru and Krishna and all these things. Then these two persons from ISKCON raised their hand, and he said, why did you say this and this, which was opposite, the exact opposite of what he said? They were questioning him. Then I became very angry with them, that why you are saying this? He did not say that. He did not speak these words. You know me. I am working here also in ISKCON. Why you are saying that he is saying this? Why do you lie? And all the other devotees were also complaining. So he went like this, that you relax. He was always doing that to me. I was in Houston. I was saying, Gurudev, they have done this thing wrong, that thing wrong. I become very angry. And he said, Shant, Shant, Shant. You relax. Don't become angry. He said, I want that you should not fight them with your fist. I want you to fight them with your words. Use your words. So he was very strong on that he wanted me to use always my words and to not become angry or lose my temper or threaten anyone. So I try to do that. I'm trying to always learn from him. I was in his room one time, and this one devotee came to Srila Narayana Maharaj. And there was a group of us in the room. And this devotee, Narayana Maharaj, was sitting in his seat, and the devotee came and he kneeled in front of Narayana Maharaj. And he offered his obeisances and he put his head down. He said, I have offended you. I have committed an offense. And because of this offense, I cannot make any more advancement in my spiritual life because I doubted you. I doubted. So you please forgive me, because if you don't forgive me, then Narayana Maharaj said, no. He said, you didn't commit any offense. You didn't commit any. So he said, no, I did. I doubted you. I committed offense. So Srila Narayana Maharaj said, if you doubted me, you must have seen some bad things in me. That's why you. So he was teaching us, this is humility. This is how, when somebody criticizes you, when somebody has bad things to say about you, this is your response. You must have seen so many bad things in me, he said, that you doubted me. So it is okay. Then the person was crying. No, how? There's nothing bad in you. Everything bad is in me. He was doing this drama for us, to show us. He was showing us, he was displaying the mood of humility. And by remembering this mood, we would be able to make advancement in Trinadapi Sunichena. So the person was weeping, and then Narayana said, okay, I forgive you. Then he blessed him. Then he took one garland and he put the garland on his neck and he said, it's okay. You please be humble and serve Guru and Gauranga. So like this, he was always teaching us. He was always teaching us by his example. What is the appropriate mood? How do you become humble? How do you become a real Guru Sevak? Prabhupada wrote in the letter, I think in all Gaudiya Mat, you are the true Guru Sevak, he wrote to Narayana. You are the best Guru Sevak. When I saw you, he wrote to Narayana Maharaj, Prabhupada wrote, when I saw you, I had love for you and affection for you, the same way my Guru had love and affection for me when he first saw me. So he was comparing the meeting with the meeting of his own spiritual master, indicating that from the beginning, from the first meeting, when he first saw Narayana Maharaj, he was experiencing something beautiful, something wonderful in terms of a loving relationship between the two of them. So that love relationship was there from the beginning. We must remember these things. And I remember one time he was always showing me. When I came to him, I was coming to him every year when he came to visit. I would give some donation, I would hear some classes. But in 2003, I went to visit him, but I was not prepared to stay. I had some business meeting in North Carolina. I was going to drive there to North Carolina to the business meeting. So he looked at me. I came into the room. I gave him some donation. I offered my obeisances. Then he said to me, so are you going to stay here and listen to me? Are you going to hear the Harikatha, what I am speaking to you? I said, Gurudev, I have to go. I have a business meeting I have to go to. Why? The way you, why you have to go? With that accent, it's so sweet. Why? And then he said, look at all these men. And he was pointing. There was many Indian men in the room who had come from Houston and other places, who had left their jobs to come and listen to him. They have all left their work to come and hear me. Why you can't leave your work to come and hear me? He said, I know you are doing business and working hard, but you are neglecting your bhakti. Don't neglect your bhakti. He was very angry with me. Then I could see behind him. I actually had a vision of my Prabhupada standing behind him. Then I could understand that my Guru Maharaj had come to chastise me. So I surrendered to him. I went to hear his lectures, and I went to listen to this Harikatha, and I was listening to his Harikatha, and I was remembering this was very similar to the things that Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj had taught me when I was staying with him. So then the next day I came to him crying that I have understood now that we must have association with sadhus and hear Harikatha from the sadhus. And he blessed me and said, if you stay in my association, then I will prepare you to preach all over the world. So like this, from the beginning, he had some plan for me. Very soon, he started asking me that you should leave your family and take sannyas and preach everywhere. So he was tough on me, but he had a plan. And I could understand that. I could understand what it was he was trying to do. He sat with me one day and he said, I want to refresh your mantras. I want you to hear the Gayatri. So I said, okay. So he said, do you know about this mantra Om Bur, and do you know this thing from Brahma Samhita? So I was trying to act like I was very intelligent. Yes, yes, I understand this, I understand that. So he was trying to teach me the mantra, but I was not listening. My ego was in the way. So after he finished, he went to the car to sit down. So I was sitting there and I said, he wanted to just give me the mantra so that I could get some spiritual refreshment, but I could not listen. I was not hearing. I have to learn how to hear. I was getting clear on the conception of hearing from the lips of the sadhu. So I went out to the car and I put my head in the window and I said, I'm sorry. You wanted me to just hear the mantra, but I allowed my ego to get in the way. Please forgive me. You recite the mantra now. Let me hear it. I just want to hear the mantra. Then he smiled. His eyes were very, yes, this is very good. Very good. Then he recited the mantra in my ear and my whole body began to tremble with happiness because I just received it in the proper mood. So hearing from the lips of the sadhu in the proper mood will provide you with the transcendental experience of spiritual life. And this will give you an opportunity to make advancement in your spiritual life. Everyone wants happiness. Everyone wants pleasure. But real happiness and real pleasure comes in the association of the sadhu and hearing the Harikatha from their lips and chanting the holy name in their association. This is where the real pleasure comes from. Otherwise, you will simply suffer in this material world. All of your temporary happinesses will cause you pain. But that does not mean everyone should now run away from their family. You can practice your bhakti at home. You can do bhakti. You can do Krishna consciousness. And you can make advancement in your spiritual life. So, there was a few more incidences between Srila Gurudev when one time I was in Italy and I was in Sicily. That was the place of Catania, Sicily. So in Catania, there used to be an ISKCON temple. And after Srila Prabhupada departed from this world, after some time, they decided to leave that temple. But there were many disciples, followers of Srila Prabhupada, and some of them had been given Harinam initiation by Srila Prabhupada. And others who had initiation from different gurus in ISKCON who were going to that temple. But they had their faith, foremost faith in Srila Prabhupada. So when ISKCON decided to leave, they decided, okay, we're going to rent this building as a group and make a Ritvik temple. So they did that. There was a whole group of them. So they made this Ritvik temple, and when I came to Catania and I was giving lectures in the home of one devotee, he called these devotees. He said, you should come and hear him speak. He preaches like Srila Prabhupada. So the leader of their group came and heard me speak. Then he was very happy and he invited me to come to their temple, and I went to their temple and I gave some lectures there. So then when Narayana Maharaj came later that year, they all came to see Srila Narayana Maharaj and they all got initiated. The ones who had gotten Harinam from Prabhupada took Diksha from Srila Gurudev, and the ones who had been initiated by gurus that fell down in ISKCON all took initiation from Srila Gurudev, so everyone got initiated by Srila Gurudev. So I went back to Catania. This festival was in Venice, Italy. So then I went back to Catania in September of that year. And when I went back there to see them, the devotees of Narayana Maharaj who were not living in the temple, in that temple before, they told me they have put Narayana Maharaj's picture on the altar, but they have not put Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj's picture on the altar. They don't understand who he is. So I spent 2-3 days giving lectures there about Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, about how Srila Keshav Maharaj was very close with the Srila Prabhupada and gave Srila Prabhupada seat when he came to the lectures, and how Srila Prabhupada and Srila Keshav Maharaj started the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti, and how Srila Keshava Maharaj wrote so many beautiful songs and wrote the Radha Vinod Bihari Tattvastakam. And I gave lectures on Radha Vinod Bihari Tattvastakam and explained to them about Radha Vinod Bihari Tattvastakam. So then, when I spoke about this, they were very appreciative and they understood, and they put the picture of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj on the altar. So when I returned to India, Gurudev asked me, where have you been, what you are doing? So I told him, I have been lecturing in Italy. At that place, there were so many new disciples. There was a Ritvik temple. And now they have made the Ritvik temple into Narayana Maharaj temple. He said, oh, what deities do they have there? I said, well, they have the Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. They have Gaur Nitai, and they have the pictures of the Parampara. I said, but they had your picture, they put your picture on there because they all took initiation from you in Venice. He said, oh, that's very good. I said, all of them, after I preached there, they became converted to follow you, and they took initiation from you, and they put your picture on the altar, but they didn't put your Gurudev's picture on the altar. So I spent 3 days preaching there about your Gurudev and told them everything about Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, how wonderful intimate relationship he had with my Prabhupada, and how he wrote all the beautiful songs, and we sang the songs that your Guru Maharaj wrote, and we recited Radha Vinod Bihari Tattvastakam. So he was very happy. He was very happy. So on the day of his Guru Maharaj's disappearance day, which is the first day of Kartik, so we're all gathered around the pictures. In India, we had the picture of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, and the rest of the Guru Parampara was there. And we did Srila Gurudev did Arti to his Guru Maharaj, and then they did Pushpanjali. So after he did the Pushpanjali, Srila Gurudev turned around, he was looking, and I didn't know, he was looking for me, he saw me come. So then I came over to him, and he brought me next to him, and he called for the flowers, and he took a big bunch of flowers, he put it in my hand. Now, he said, you can offer flowers to my Guru Maharaj. That was a very special moment for me, special moment, that he gave me entrance, access to his Gurudev, because he appreciated what I had done. So this was a very intimate relationship I had with him. Then he asked me to lecture about Radha Vinod Bihari Tattvastakam. One day, he called on me. Bhaktivedanta Bhagavat Maharaj, you speak about Imli Tala and Radha Vinod Bihari Tattvastakam. Then I spoke about this Radha Chintan Niveshana Yasya Kantir Vilopita Sri Krishna Charanam Vande Radha Lingita Vigraha. This is a very important verse because it refers to what's going on today in India. It happened here in the West yesterday. We had this Rasayatra, this Vasant Purnima, and you are having Vasant Purnima now today in India. And this Vasant Ras is a very special Ras Leela. Gurudev explains about these things, about the difference between the two Ras Leelas, Sharad Ras and Vasant Ras. And the key to understanding it is in Radha Vinod Bihari Tatvastakam. Because in Radha Vinod Bihari Tatvastakam, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj is talking about Sri Krishna Charanam Vande. I Vande offer obeisances Sri Krishna Chalana to the feet of this Sri Krishna. Which Sri Krishna? Which Sri Krishna is he offering obeisances to? Radha Chintani Vaishna Yasya Kantir Vilopita, that Krishna whose Kanti has become golden due to separation from Srimati Radhika. This Krishna. Not any another Krishna. Radha Lingita, Radhaya Alingita. Radha Lingita and Radhaya Lingita. When Krishna was dancing the Vasant Ras Leela in the Govardhan with the gopis, there was 1 billion gopis. Shata Koti Gopi Madhavaman. 1 billion gopis, Shata Koti gopis. 100 crore of gopis was dancing there. But Krishna was going from Radha to one gopi. He would dance and sing and kiss Radharani, and then he would go to another gopi and dance and sing and kiss that gopi, and then back and forth, back and forth. He was doing like this and causing so much anxiety in Radharani. Why? He is giving affection to these gopis like he gives to me. Why? So she became very upset, very angry. You cannot do this. Gurudev used to give lectures about this. So, this is all explained in great detail. This first verse, Radha Chintani Vaishna, the commentary is given by Gurudev in the biography of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj, Acharya Keshari. In that commentary, he explains all these details in that first verse. So, Radha leaves the rasa dance. She leaves the rasa dance, and now the rasa dance is dead. There is Shatakoti Gopi Madhavaman, but I am not interested in 1 billion gopis. I am only interested in one gopi, Srimati Radhika. So he goes, he leaves and he goes searching everywhere. Esho Esho Radhe. He's playing the flute. Esho Esho Radhe. Where's Radha? Where's Radha? Kotai go prema moi Radhe Radhe. Radhe go jai Radhe Radhe. Kotai go prema moi Radhe Radhe. He's crying for Radha, but she won't come. She won't come. He goes everywhere. Vamshivat, Keshigat, Govardhan, everywhere he's going and he's crying, Radhe, 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 Sevakunj. She won't come. She won't come. So, what happened? At this point, he ends up at Imlitala. You know the Imlitala is right next door to Gopinath Bhavan. So at that tree, he's sitting under that tree, and he begins to do Radha Mantram Japam Jayam, Dhyayam. He is meditating. Radha Mantra Japam Dhyayan. He is meditating on Radha Mantra. Radha Sarvatsya Pashyati. And he begins to see Radharani everywhere, everywhere. In every leaf on the tree, in every tree, in every blade of grass, he is seeing only Radha, 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 Radha. So what happens? Gaurakanti. He gets golden color. When Radharani sees that Krishna has become absorbed in his mood, in her mood, then she becomes happy. Then her man breaks and she comes running. She comes running there to be with Krishna. And when she sees Krishna, she embraces Krishna in a very special way. Gurudev explains, every limb of Radha embraces every limb of Krishna. They become completely entangled, bound up together. And that Gaurakanti becomes more profound. So this Radha Lingita, Radhaya Lingita. Radha Lingita means the Gaurakanti he gets from meditating on the Radha mantra and seeing Radha everywhere. And Radhaya Lingita means the Gaurakanti he gets from embracing Srimati Radhika. So it has a dual meaning. So like this, Radha Lingita, Radhaya Lingita. And this was so profound. Srila Gurudev explains in his commentary that Mahaprabhu came to Vrindavan for this purpose only, to sit under Imli Tala tree and absorb Gaurakanti, golden color of Srimati Radhika. So he could be in Radhika's bhav more and more and more. So like this Krishna, who is under that Imli Tala tree, who is weeping for Radharani and reciting Radha Mantra and becoming absorbed in Srimati Radhika and breaks her man, and when they embrace, he's crying to Radhika, don't you know I'm living in Vrindavan only because you are here? Vrindavan is Radhika's place. And Krishna is living there to get the dust of her lotus feet. So like this, we see the beauty of this mantra which has been written, this song with Radha Vinod Bihari Tatvastakam by Param Gurudev. And Gurudev gave this beautiful, mellifluous commentary on this, explaining everything in deep, you should study it. Gurudev has given us a jewel, a great gift, writing this commentary on Radha Vinod Bihari Tatvastakam, and every disciple should study this. Gurudev was very happy with me when he heard me speak about these things. He called on me to speak about them and I spoke. Then he was very happy with me. So he blessed me. You give flowers now to my Guru Maharaj. This was a special blessing that I got from him. So Srila Gurudev, he had a desire. He told us once on a walk, we were walking, and he explained, because a lot of devotees don't understand what it means to hear from the sadhu. What is the speciality? So we were walking with him in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. It was myself, Nemi Maharaj, and also Padmanabha Maharaj. So we were walking with Gurudev, then Gurudev explained to us. If you read the books or watch the videos, you will get knowledge. Knowledge. Transcendental knowledge, he said, but you will get knowledge. But you cannot get the moods of the inhabitants of Braj from a book. He said, you have to be close to me. And you have to hear the Harikatha. This is explained. That Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite. This is broadcasting of Prema Bhakti. This is called Chaya Bhava Bas in the Jaiva Dharma and in Nectar of Devotion. Chaya Bhava Bas. What does it mean? It means that when the sadhu, when the guru is in bhav, ecstasy, and he is speaking about this katha, and he is feeling the moods of the gopis, and he is feeling the moods of Krishna, then he speaks and he broadcasts those moods. When Gurudev came to America and he was speaking to us and he was telling us about love, not about rules and regulations in Vaidhi Bhakti, but how to love each other as God brothers and God sisters by loving Krishna and Radha, by doing service and spontaneous love. When he started speaking about this, and he started speaking about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, he spoke about these pastimes, and the devotees were weeping. He was weeping, and they were also weeping. In the beginning, when Srila Prabhupada first came to America, sometimes he would be uncontrolled. His ecstasy would come to the surface and he would weep when he was speaking, and the disciples would also weep. So we had not experienced this for many, many years. And Gurudev gave us that gift. He gave us that mercy again, that we could weep for Krishna. So beautiful gift he gave to us when he came to America. Everywhere the devotees were weeping and crying. So this is the beauty of the association of pure sadhu. The moods of Radha and Krishna cannot be transferred to your heart by reading a book. The moods of Radha and Krishna come, they're directly deposited in your heart by hearing the transcendental sound vibration from the lips of the sadhu. So Srila Gurudev told us, we three sannyasis together, you get knowledge from the book, but the moods of the inhabitants of Braj come from hearing the transcendental sound from the lips of the sadhu. Those moods will be broadcast. Prema Bhakti Jaha. So we were so fortunate to have Srila Gurudev's association. So fortunate to have the opportunity to get blessed in his association again and again by hearing his sweet Harikatha. I remember being with him in Venice, Italy, and he started speaking about the Bhagavata verse about Krishna walking through the forest with the karnika, yellow karnika flower in his hair and the wildflower garlands from the forest around his neck and playing the flute, and he was describing it and he began trembling and weeping. And I was just next to him there on the dais, and I could feel the power of his broadcasting praying. The devotees were all listening. Gurudev was giving us so much mercy, so much mercy. And then we came, one devotee, Ashram Maharaj, was giving lecture about he was giving lecture about the Jagai and Madai. And he was explaining about this Leela, this pastime. And while he was explaining about this pastime of Jagai and Madai, so we, myself and Tamal Krishna, you remember Tamal Krishna from Australia, a very big devotee. Gurudev once said that we are brothers from another mother. So we began dancing like Jai and Vijay. And he was looking at us, and first he started to laugh, and then he began to weep. He began weeping, thinking how the Jais and Vijayas of the West have come to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu through this Gaudiya Sampradaya. He was feeling again ecstasy. Gurudev so many times. One time when he was doing Damodar Astakam in Vrindavan at Gopinath Bhavan, he began weeping, talking about Mother Yasoda. Like this, he was feeling these different ecstasies and he was broadcasting them. So we had such good fortune to be in the association of Gurudev when he did this. When I took Vanaprastha, when I left my family, I begged him for saffron cloth. He called Brajanath to come to the room with one book. I bought the saffron cloth, I gave it to him. So Brajanath came with the cloth, with the book, the picture of Prabhupada and Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj was there, two pictures. And Gurudev took the saffron cloth, he put it on the feet of his Gurudev and on the feet of my Prabhupada, and he said, from their hands to my hands, to your hands, you please honor this cloth. So I got such good blessing, such good opportunity. And when I used to have a big red handlebar mustache, big red handlebar mustache. I have pictures of me next to Gurudev with this big mustache. It was becoming gray, but a big handlebar mustache. So I shaved my mustache because now I was in saffron. So on the morning walk, he said to me, what have you done? I said, what, Gurudev? What I did? He said, you shaved your mustache. I said, you gave me saffron. How could I keep mustache? No. I liked your mustache. Gurudev, how could you like my mustache? I'm taking saffron. I have to shave my mustache. I cannot keep this. No, I liked your mustache. You look like a great king. He told me like this. So then, when we were in Los Angeles, I was there, Gurudev was there, Tirtha Maharaj was there. So I took Tirtha Maharaj to see some Indian men. So they went and spoke with these Indian men. And one of the Indian men did the palmistry. So he looked at Tirtha Maharaj's palm, he looked at my palm. So then we came back and Tirtha Maharaj was explaining to Gurudev everything that about the meeting. So then Gurudev was listening to Tirtha Maharaj explain how the palmist was talking to him about his future. So then Gurudev asked Tirtha Maharaj, did he read his palm? So Tirtha Maharaj said, yes, he read his palm. What did he say about him? He was pointing to me. What did he say about him? I want to know. So Tirtha Maharaj told. He only said one thing. He said that this man is a great king, but he has no kingdom. And Gurudev looked and he said, yes, this is true. So like this, there was many intimate relations that I had with Srila Gurudev, very beautiful, sweet pastimes I had with him. I was very fortunate, very lucky to get his association. He gave me sannyas in 2008, and in 2010 I was there just before he left for Puri. Myself and Vaikanas Maharaj went to his room. We came and we offered our obeisances to him. He called us to be next to his bedside. Then he patted us on the head and rubbed us on the back, and he gave us a blessing. That was the last time that I saw Gurudev, until I saw him when he was placed in Samadhi. So now it is 11:15. I have been telling so many stories and I'm a little bit tired. You please forgive me. But I have not even taken breakfast or eaten. But I am very happy that I got chance to speak with all of you and tell you about these pastimes today of Gurudev.
Thank you, Maharaji. Thank you so much. We were totally immersed in your nectar, and we didn't even know how much time passed and what was happening. It was so sweet, and the way you were speaking, I was reminded of Gurudev himself. He used to speak like this and take us on a trip, and you exactly did that. You took us on a trip, and I was feeling a little bad in the beginning because today is such an important tithi, and I was thinking in my heart that something should be spoken about Vasantik Ras, and you spoke so beautifully that I was totally satisfied and very happy. So thank you, Maharaji. It was really, really very interesting session with you. You started with saying the beautiful relation between Prabhupada and our Gurudev. Yes, Gurudev has written a book also about it, My Priya Bandhu, and he has so many letters with him, and they were so close. And the nice famous picture of Prabhupada's sannyas in Mathura. So all this, such an intimate relation, and Gurudev sending all the mardang, the books, pedas. So many times he has told us all these beautiful things. And then yes, Gurudev was always called to Balram temple, and you described how Prabhupada would call him and how you met. And the first meeting you described was so transcendental, like he was floating above the ground, effulgent. Most of the people who come on the program have reported like this, even myself. When you see him for the first time, you feel a very different feeling. And how he liked your beard when he met you first time. He always loved people with beard in Chaturmas, yes. And I remember he used to say, you should take my picture with beard and everybody's. After some time, people will not keep Chaturmas, and then this will serve as a proof that yes, sadhus used to do Chaturmas at one time. So take our picture with beard. So yes, he used to like that austerity. And how he used to have only khichdi once a day, that is also a great austerity. And then you described special mudra. It was so touching and out of the world. I mean, it creates great faith in the hearts of listeners that how these things really exist. A lot of people don't even have faith that they are actually there. You just read in the books, but you saw it from your own eyes, how Gurudev described Swami Prabhupada in a dancing mudra. And then how Srila Prabhupada confirmed it to you next day that I was with Krishna. So all these things are for real, and these sadhus are immersed into these leelas. We must have full faith in it, that they are actually in the leelas, they are coming and going out of these. And then how Gurudev sang Roop Manjari Pada. So even you sang so beautifully, like Gurudev only. It is so nice, your voice, so beautiful. Just, you sang only one line, but it was so sweet. And then how Prabhupada instructed that when the time comes, you call him. This only shows such elevated position of our Gurudev. And yeah, you describe so nicely how Prabhupada spread his mission by chanting and prasadam, only these two things mainly. So Hare Krishna mantra and give prasadam to everybody. Whole world he captured like this. The power of God's name and his prasad.
He used to make us do Sankirtan for many hours in the street.
Yes.
And I remember that when we were doing the Sankirtan, the people will just come and join us in the Sankirtan and come back to the temple with us, and they will move into the temple. I did that. Wow. I chanted with them on the Sankirtan, and that night I moved in the temple. This was the power of the Sankirtan. Yes. And Gurudev explained what is that power. Because somebody asked Gurudev one time that we are chanting Nam Aparad and we're going out on Sankirtan. So what benefit are we giving the people? He said, no. He said, when you go out and do Sankirtan on the order of your Prabhupada and myself, then it is our chanting that is being broadcast in the Sankirtan. Then I understood, because I was a new boy, 19 years old, chanting on the street, but people were following me home and joining the temple. Why? Because we were doing it on the order of Prabhupada. It was Prabhupada's sound vibration that was coming. So this is the potency. Potency comes from the sound vibration of the sadhu, even in your own. And this is why Harinam Sankirtan, this is the Yuga Dharma, this is the most important thing. When you're doing your own japa, it is important. But when you're doing Harinam Sankirtan, your Gurudev's potency is present in the recitation of the holy name to the public.
So nice, Maharaji.
You are also getting that potency.
Yeah. So very nicely explained you this tattva of how when you're doing on the order of your Gurudev, he's only singing, not you yourself.
Yeah.
We normally think that we are doing Namaprad, but now you clarified so beautifully that it's the Gurudev who is singing, not you. And that's the power that so many people are coming behind, because it's Gurudev's Sankirtan. So nice. And then you described in 1970 how India was very pure, all women were respected. So this is for all of us Indians. We should try to make our India back like that. We have degraded so much. Yeah, I was born in 69, so I was just 1 year old that time. So yes, India was like that. In fact, when we were young, we had seen so many changes while we were growing. So yeah, because of this internet and Western culture coming. And then you described the Satvik Bhav, nectar of devotion coming to life. You've been so fortunate to witness those things with your eyes, what we read in those books, such a Satvik Bhav and Mahabhagavat behavior. Anybody who sees this gets purified immediately, I think. even if you witness such a Mahabhagavat. And then Gurudev told some mantra in Prabhupada's ears and he became quiet. So I don't know what mantra Gurudev has, whether he has given to you or somebody, I don't know. He must have given to some of his disciples these mantras.
He told me, but he told me not to repeat it.
Oh, okay. So only to use it with very caution and where it is required.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's amazing. We don't even know that these things exist and how these Mahabhagavats are using these things. And last external communication you described, this is also so beautiful, of Swami Maharaj giving blessing to Gurudev. So that was the last communication. So all the Swami Maharaj's power or his blessings are with our Gurudev. I can see that because that was the last external communication as described by you. And you also met Anand Brahmachari, who was cook for Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Wow, what an honor to see some sevak of Saraswati Thakur. I mean, we only read about Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Great. And another very beautiful thing is you described that Gurudev chose you to start the Samadhi process for your Gurudev. That's such a big honor, I would say. Like Maharaj was chosen by Swami Maharaj and Gurudev chose you to start digging and start the process. So this shows that your and Gurudev's relationship is so intimate and he gave so much importance to you. That's really great. And then how Gurudev joked that I will not stop anybody who is coming from Bhubaneswar to spoil your mat. Yes, he would joke so many times and talk like this. And this was very touching. Maharaji described the humility of Gurudev, how he showed by his own example that when somebody doubted him, he said, you must have seen some bad things in me. Yes, that's how he was, so humble. Even he was so elevated, such a big Mahabhagavat, and he behaved so humbly always. Always I've seen him. And that thing touched everybody's heart. So you said he was doing this drama to teach us, actually, those people around him, that what is humility, how he should be.
Well, I don't think it was just a drama. To be honest with you, it was his
He was actually,
experience.
Yes.
But he allowed this thing to play out in front of everyone instead of saying, "Oh, we can discuss it later."
Yes.
He wanted to show everyone, here, this is how you should deal with criticism.
Yes. Gurudev was always truthful. I've seen that he's always truthful. He would never, the humility he's showing, he's actually always so humble, always. And then he will teach us by those behavior. And then you also said, Prabhupada wrote, you are the best Guru Sevak. What a big honor to be disciple of such Gurudev, whom Prabhupada is writing, you are the best Guru Sevak. Yes. Gurudev used to say that you have to do seva with life in your palms. I did that for my Guru did that for my Param Guru, and my Param Guru did that. So whole parampara has been doing the same thing. He used to say we used to take our life in our hands and serve our Gurudev. So I think till the time we do not do such seva, we will not be anywhere near achieving any realization or bhakti. And then this was also very nice. You described how you saw Prabhupada behind Gurudev when Gurudev was telling you, do not neglect your bhakti. Yes, Gurudev was hard on you. He told you so forcefully because he had so much love. And I think he saw so much potential in you. That's why he was tough on you and he gave you strong instructions. And you took it so in a good spirit and you immediately followed his order. Very next day. I mean, we have not understood it's been so many years, but if somebody is very smart, he will understand very next day like you. You immediately understood and you stopped all your business and you went for his association. So that is also very beautiful, Maharaj, that you took him so seriously. That is what is very important, that we should take our Gurudev's word very, very seriously. What he says, we should hear it very carefully, because often we miss it. I missed most of it. Now I realize that I have been missing, but what to do now? We can read only his books, but this is what is very, very important. And you showed in your own life that how you followed it immediately. You cancelled all your program and you stayed on this associations. So we should learn from you about how to do Guru Seva. And then another very nice thing you said, that Gurudev had a plan for you. And more important than then is that you could understand that plan. Often the disciples don't understand Guru's plan for them, and they are in their own thoughts and on trip, and we are never in one heart with Gurudev. But in your case, it was very nice that you understood his plan for you and you gave it so much importance. So that's what we should also follow. We always, Guru has a plan for us. And then you said, hearing from the lips of a sadhu in proper mood will give you spiritual experience, not from anything else. This is a very important line, I think, that hearing from the lips of a sadhu in proper mood. And again, you made another very strong statement, all temporary happiness will cause you pain. I think if we can understand this one line, we'll have vairagya immediately. If we can understand the gravity of what you said in this one line, all temporary happiness will cause you pain. Whatever we are striving for in our life, in our work life, it is eventually going to give us pain. If we can understand this, we'll just run for association of some Mahabhagavat. And oh, this is so beautiful. You describe about Italy, Sicily, about the Ritvik temple, and you spent 3 days to put Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj there. I think Gurudev became really, really happy for this service. He was so happy that he gave you the garland you described later. Now you can offer garland to my Guru Maharaj. So how happy he must be to take your this service, that you put his Gurudev on the altar of so many people. Yeah. And then this was the most amazing, Maharaj, Radha Vinod Bihari Tatvastakam. Such a beautiful description, like Gurudev himself used to give. You gave very, very beautifully. How you said that you offer pranam to that Krishna who has become golden in separation of Radharani. This is what we are. This is how all our Gaudiya Mats in Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. Gurudev used to say that people in other Gaudiya Mats criticize us that our Krishna is not black because it is a little expensive, and that's why we are using white. But Gurudev used to explain about this one, what you just described, that how we worship only that Krishna who has become golden by separation from Radharani. He is in that mood, we worship that Krishna. So beautiful. And you gave advice to everybody to read Acharya Kesari. I think all of us who are Gurudev disciple, if we really want to please Gurudev, we must read this book, Acharya Kesari by our Gurudev and his commentary. As Maharaj has described, I think everybody must have got the inspiration today by your speaking this little Harikatha, that we should, those who have not read, we should open this book and start reading immediately. And Gurudev will be very, very happy with us then. That's what my belief is, and that's what you said also. And then you described about Imlitala. You described the Vasantik Ras so nicely in Govardhan, and how Radharani left because she saw dancing with Krishna dancing with all the gopis, and she came under Man and she came to Imlitala. And then Krishna came here and he was in separation and he was seeing Radharani everywhere. Everywhere he could see Radharani and he became golden. I mean, that was such a mesmerizing description and so transcendental that we were visualizing Krishna there. And then you said that is the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also came here, only
Gurudev said this.
Yes.
Gurudev says in the commentary that the main reason is this, why Mahaprabhu went there. This is also why he doesn't bring Gadadhar Pandit with him. because Gadadhar Pandit is Radharani. If Gadadhar Pandit comes to Vrindavan, then he won't be able to absorb himself in mood of Radhika and Imli Tala.
Oh,
So that's why Gadadhar is not permitted to come.
oh. Then he won't have that separation from Radharani because Gadadhar will be there, right?
Yes. He wanted to understand Radha's mood, to absorb in Radha's Gaura Bhav.
Wow. So these are very, very deep bhavs of Mahaprabhu and Krishna himself, and how Gurudev gave such nice commentary and Maharaj described so beautifully, so beautifully.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
kind words to this old man. I appreciate
No,
it.
Maharaj, we were so touched by your Harikatha. It was so, so beautiful. We'd like to have you again, actually. I got some more things to say. I think few more things which you said. Because it's so beautiful, I want to read again and again. Yeah, you already, Mahaprabhu went to Imlitala. Oh, you said, I'm living in Vrindavan because you are here.
Yes, Krishna says this in that
Oh,
prayer by Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
yes, yes. To
He is
Radharani.
saying that when he sings that song, Shatakoti Gopi,
Yes, yes, yes.
that I am living in Vrindavan only because you are here, he's
Yes.
saying to Radha.
Yeah. I mean, this is how our Radharani is, our Radhya Devi. Krishna is also totally following her, and that's what we are worshiping, such Krishna. And mood of inhabitants of Braj be close to and Harikatha from Sadhu only, then only we can get that mood that you already described, how Gurudev told you in San Francisco.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So we should endeavor to hear from any sadhu like we heard today from you, Maharaji. I could see this statement coming true today, actually, so beautifully. Yes, it was really very inspiring in our heart. And then you said very powerful statement. Gurudev speaks, he broadcasts those moods. He is throwing those atoms of love everywhere.
Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite.
Yes, yes. Like you are throwing today, Maharaj, and even you were sitting so far off, I could receive them in New Delhi here. Your atoms of love. You're broadcasting and with such a powerful medium, yes. And then you said very, very powerful thing. The beautiful gift that Gurudev gave is we could weep for Krishna.
Yes.
He taught us how to weep for Krishna, yes. Not about regulative principles, not about rules and regulations, but how to weep for Krishna, how to have that love and weep for Krishna. So beautiful you described, Maharaj. And then you described how Gurudev was describing Varha Pidam Shlok in Italy, and he was transmitting all his prem, and then he was in tears, and everybody was in tears. Yes, we have seen that many times with Gurudev. While telling Harikatha, he would choke and he would be in tears. And then, Gurudev started crying when you were talking about Jai Vijay of the West, how they came to Prabhupada, Mahaprabhu, when he thought he was like crying, yeah. And yeah, you are a great king, Maharaj, finally, with no kingdom. You have a big kingdom, I think. You have a big kingdom, you have your disciples, and we are also your disciples, Shiksha disciples. And we would be eager to hear from you again, Maharaj. It was so nice. Even your son spoke so well the other day. I saw him on one of the Zoom programs, and I will try to call him. He is also very elevated, and he spoke really beautifully. Thank you so much, Maharaji, for coming. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough. And we'll like to have many times again and again to hear about Gurudev and about your Harikatha. Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Bhagavat Maharaj Ji ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrand ki jai, Gaur Bhakt Vrand ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. So, I thank you all the listeners for being with us, and tomorrow we are going to have another. We're going to have Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Bodhayan Maharaj tomorrow. So we have been doing in English for quite some time. So tomorrow, all our Hindi speakers will be Hindi listeners will be very happy because Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Bodhayan Maharaj will speak in Hindi. So don't miss it tomorrow, 8 o'clock once again. Thank you,
His
Maharaj.
name is Bibuddha. Bhakti Bibuddha.
No, Maharaj, this one is different. This is Bhaktivedanta Bodhayan Maharaj.
Oh, is
From
it Bhakti?
Puri.
Okay.
They are close by. They are there only. Both are in Puri, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to be our Bansivadan Prabhu before.
Oh, Vamshivadan. Okay.
He's become now Bhaktivedanta Bodhayan Maharaj.
Okay.
We'll be there tomorrow. Thank you very much
Thank
once
you.
again. Hari Bol. Gaur
Hari Bol.
Premanande Hari Hari.
Premanande Hari.